Hello, hello, everyone. This is Daily from Healing Heart Reiki, and we're here for today's mini masterclass. And I really wanted to speak with you today about manifesting. Manifesting, manifesting, manifesting. I love manifesting. I feel like for me, ever since I was born, ever since I can remember, the idea of being able to manifest the life that you want to live was something that was just a given. It may have been because of how I was raised and a lot of the Buddhist trainings I went to and the things that we discussed. But I had this really strong understanding that your mindset could really shift whatever it is that you actually bring into your life. And I think that it is important to remember that we're co-creating. So sometimes your ego wants certain things, but it's not just up to you, it's also up to the world around you and the people around you. But by far, we have way more strength and power than we realize when it comes to actually creating the life that we want. I have manifested lots of fun different things, and I have come to trust that intuitive manifesting process. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about our actual body and what the secrets for how your body functions in actually bringing those manifestations in. Because I think, we often talk about affirmations and these things, but it's really, really helpful to get a sense of what's actually happening inside. When it comes to manifesting, I like to think about the body as having these three power centers. And this is something that you learn in Japanese metaphysics. Like your power, your hara line has your lower hara, and you have these diamond centers. It's not the same as chakras, and it's not that like they're just totally different like systems of understanding. If you go back into chakra history and you look at some of the older texts about chakras, you actually do find that, for example, the root and the sacral plexus at one point were seen as kind of one power center. So that's really shifted. And it also, I think, well, it depends on a lot of things. So today we're talking about a system that really looks at these three main power centers in the body. And one is kind of located in the mind area. You've got this diamond center here, and one in the heart, and then one in your root or your sacral area. So in the hips, that lower power center. And when you want to manifest quickly, it's actually really important to make sure that all three of these power centers are really communicating with each other and that they are all aligned around whatever it is that you're actually manifesting. So, one of the mistakes that people often make when they're trying to manifest something is they just focus the energy through one of those power centers. And for example, they may just be in their mind um, holding the affirmation that they're going to get it. But their heart may not be in it. Their heart may actually feel resistance. I think a really good example of this is in love. A lot of times you may have a friend that says, "Oh, I really want my next relationship to look like this. I want my partner to be fun and easygoing, and we're gonna go out and have great adventures. And I want my partner to be committed and, whatever it is." And that's great. And they really believe that and they want that. But then in their heart or their emotional body center, that physical body center, they may actually have a totally different agenda going on. Like it's possible that in their heart, even though they do want maybe, let's say, a safe, practical partner and somebody that's committed and will be there and they can have fun with, in their heart, they may actually not want that. That same person might be still feeling like, well, I don't know that I want to be committed. Maybe I want freedom. So the disconnect between the head and the heart, that is the first way that manifesting goes boop. And the same thing, like in that emotional body center, that lower power center, that same friend, maybe they know they want something here, but if there are old traumas around actually being in a stable relationship, maybe that person was in something really committed and really solid, but it created a lot of pain for other reasons. Well, then that person's emotional body might still be saying, no, 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 that's not the safe way to be. In which case, again, even though you have this one at like one thing that you want to manifest, that person, they're not in alignment, right? Those three power centers aren't speaking to each other. So that's like the very first important thing to kind of be aware of is you really want that mind, that heart, and that emotional body and physical muscle memory self to really be aligned in what you're manifesting. So you can journal that, take a look at that, and see where one of those areas might be off. Hello, hello, I see you on. Oh, yay, there's comments. Yay. So if you're on, just drop a hello or drop a word of what you want to manifest. And if you have really specific examples you want to give of types of things and how that would manifest through the body, let me know and I will go over some of those. So um, that's kind of the system. You want these three pieces to speak. Now, the tricky thing too is that sometimes people think, well, I'm really clear in my mind, so I'm just gonna make myself want this thing on the heart level. And that doesn't really work. Like, it doesn't work. Your heart, on some level, wants what it wants. And so, if you want to shift those alignments, then it really is a dialogue and a communication. We're taught in our society very often to drive forward in success and in the things we want from a place of mindset and ego. And I don't say ego is a bad thing. You know, I'm really talking about like your ego in metaphysics. It's like your ego is actually a protector. Your ego is this thing that when you're born in life, your ego is what makes sure you stay alive and safe, right? So when you're actually manifesting, sometimes you might want something in your heart, but your ego says, no, 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 it has to look this way or that way because anything else could be dangerous for us to stay alive, to be human, to be successful in the world. So there's really an inner dialogue that has to happen there for you as a manifester. You have to really kind of check in and go, well, is this thing that I want to manifest that my heart says I want, is it an unsafe thing? Am I free to do this thing? Or is my ego overacting and trying to protect me, or is it not? And I think a really good example of this, let me think about this. So, for example, when I was really young, I actually have a family full of artists. My dad was an artist. My mom was very artistic. She never had a career in art, but she was very promising and had a scholarship for art and all kinds of other things. And I've got a lot of creative people in my family. My stepdad is a master journeyman artist. So even though I was surrounded by this creativity, there was a mindset when I was really young that was still coming through from society and also coming through from some of those family members. Even though they were successful in art and doing their thing, I got kind of this message like, oh, artists don't make any money. They don't make any money at all. Like if you become an artist, you're going to starve. That's why there's always the starving artist um, paradigm on TV shows because it's real. And so growing up, I actually believed that, but it's really, really not true. Like, think of all of the artists that show in art galleries and have beautiful lives and beautiful homes, and musicians and actors, and you can do anything you want artistically and creatively. And the ability to actually live like safely and peacefully is really just a skill set that's separate from the art itself. So I've like since childhood, I've met tons of really amazing, successful artists, many of whom are not like massively known in the world. They're just kind of living their lives and they've carved out the niche of what they love to do, and they are well paid for that and they're happy. However, when I was young, my ego learned these things. So there was a point at which I thought, do I want to? do something really creative. And my ego said, no, you have to get a job and, work someplace and do data entry and do really practical things. And that is the only way to survive. And my ego was telling me this, like being an artist is unsafe. You can't really make a living as an artist. My ego was telling me this because that is what I'd been conditioned to learn. So in that case, my mind, I had this one idea of something I wanted to manifest, an artistic life, but I also had my ego in that same place telling me, no, 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 that's actually not a safe thing. And my heart alignment was very much in, I want to do this thing. I love art, right? But my emotional body said, it's unsafe, it's unsafe, it's unsafe because of what I'd been taught growing up, even from family members. So before I was able to actually manifest that life, which I did in my 20s, like I did art, I organized art shows, I was a costume designer, I was a makeup artist, I tried acting a little bit, didn't really like that. I danced on stage, I did all kinds of things, right? But before I was able to really manifest that, and even through the process of manifesting that, what I had to do was get all three of those power centers to actually communicate, to actually like speak to one another and to resolve where I had that inner resistance. In that case, some of it was limiting beliefs, right? So I had to actually go in and look at those stories that I'd been told about art and artists and rework them, like really look at them and disengage all of those pieces to understand. But I also had to work through the body messages and the emotional body resonances that were encoded that said, it's an unsafe path to both be an artist and make a living at it, right? So this communication is really important. One of the greatest things that, like the greatest, I don't want to say mistakes. I think something that people forget when they're doing all of the stuff to rework mindset, such as affirmations and like writing affirmations and clearing limiting beliefs and all of this. Maybe they're really getting that resonance strong in their heart, like, I want it, I want it, I want it, I want it, is they forget taking inspired action. They forget that, okay, so now you've got these three centers communicating and you feel really clear about what it is that you want. And that could be anything from like a brand new car to having babies in your life to a love relationship to making millions of dollars. Doesn't matter, right? You've got all these three communicating now, but something that people forget as they're doing the affirmations and doing, they're feeling into them, you got to feel it. They forget to take the inspired action. They forget to really drop in and go, okay, I'm feeling this place in myself now. I'm feeling the life that I want to create. I can see myself actually inside of the new car, on the performing stage, having the art show, whatever it is. And again, you don't want to do that from a state of longing. You see yourself already doing it, vibing in it. But then you've got to take the inspired action. So you've got to ask yourself inside or ask your guides and angels, what is the thing that I need to do next? Just the next step. What is the very next step for me to draw myself into this reality? And the funny thing about inspired action is that it's not always logical. So you might have a list of the types of things you do need to kind of generally do for success in those areas. For example, when I was a dancer, I knew that I was going to have to continue to take classes to be a stronger dancer. I knew that I needed good teachers. I knew that I needed some better shoes, and I knew that I needed to buy those things and make those things happen, right? So I did. But there's a deeper piece here. Inspired action isn't just your laundry list of to-do things. Sometimes doing that's all ego again. That's all mental. That can be exhausting. So you start with where your deeper heart inspiration leads you. In ancient Egyptian metaphysics, the heart was seen as truly intelligent as having its own form of intelligence that's just as important, if not more, than your ego mindset, right? So when you listen for divine inspiration, you're really listening into the cosmic matrix of your own life and how your life is connecting into the web of reality of the entire world around you. You're listening to the deeper harmonies of the entire earth plane and the universe. When you ask for divine inspiration, you're opening yourself up to the very next action you can take, as if you yourself are dancing with the universe and creating something beautiful and amazing that everyone can benefit from. So I've had moments of divine inspiration where I was working really hard on something and I just put my hands on my heart and I said, what in my heart is the thing I need to do next for this manifestation? And then strange things came up, like go to an ice cream shop, get some ice cream. Um, and it's like, what does ice cream have to do with this massive manifestation? But you just never know. That's why you trust it. So in the case of the ice cream, it was like just being in the space shifted my mindset and put me into a different space where I was able to really get into creative flow. I once had a divine inspiration to go check out an organization that I otherwise would not have been interested in. And the very day that I chose, that it just felt like I have to do it on this day, that was a day that allowed me to meet some really amazing people, to get put inside of a magazine for my business. And then, even more so than being in the magazine or having photos taken or anything like that, the conversations that I happened to have with people I otherwise might never have met really shifted my mindset and allowed me to take multiple leaps at that time towards my goals. So, when you're doing the affirmations, when you're really working and clearing those limiting beliefs, when you're working on all the things here to get yourself connected to your heart, when you're working on feeling into what is it like if I am just the Reiki master right now? How does my life look? How does it feel? What is it like if I have that multiple figure raise at my job? Who am I then? How does that feel? Am I celebrating? As you're feeling into these things, and as you're deepening into your body's memories, your muscle memory, and you're realigning and reworking those, also take that divinely inspired action, and not a whole slew of things, just your very next step. And we need these things. I think we constantly need reminders. And even throughout my 20s and my 30s, as I was like kind of I literally was just manifesting things so fast. Like, oh, I want to meet some movie stars. Oh, here they are. Oh, I want to go try this awesome adventure. Here it is, right? Whatever it was like happening within weeks, just boom, boom, boom. And that was me being in a manifesting flow. But how I stayed in that was by constantly bringing myself back to those nuts and bolts of that inner clearing and that inner alignment. And that's why we have our Reiki practice. That's why we have a daily energy practice where we just put aside 15 minutes to like get clear, to really check in. What is divinely inspired for me today? And when I was younger, that felt like huge work. But as I've continued to slowly, slowly embody that life, I've actually found that like it's everything is divinely inspired, right? So when I wake up nowadays, it's like, okay, I have a laundry list of things. I'm not even going to go there. What are the divine inspired actions? What is the way in which I need to do these things? And then I create that life. And as I do that, it gives me more energy to actually just naturally flow through all of those other things that are actually really important too for sustainability and growth. So, yeah, that's what I was feeling this morning. Some of these ideas come from the Huna tradition in which I studied. I don't consider myself a Huna or like Hawaiian shaman because I'm not Hawaiian, but I feel really thankful for the teachings that I received with my teacher. And some of these ideas and concepts come from channel and from my life experience and from my teachings in Buddhism that I was really raised in and founded in. So it's fun, to work with those pieces and just watch as my life continues to shift as I revisit and deepen all the time. I think that is the thing. It's like like in ancient Egyptian work, yeah, like form follows function, function also creates form. When you have a really clean space, it shifts how your mind thinks, it shifts how you process. And I have often found that when my space is filled with crazy, which it sometimes really is, it's like not even pretty. Maybe I should post those just so you can see the horror. But sometimes I go through those spaces where my life just feels really messy in my head, and that's really reflected in like the mess that's around me in my space, right? So I really think of cleaning as sacred work. And I find that when I'm cleaning and picking up, if I just put on some good music, that is serious manifestation magic because I can get into the thought process and the vibe of like the world that I'm living in and the world that I want to create and the feeling of all of the good that's coming as I sort and put things away. So, yes, yes, yes. Okay, so I don't see any questions. So I suppose, let's see, the first Saturday of every month, we have our virtual online Reiki share. So if you want to receive healing, if you really need healing, and you also want to give healing, you want to work on and hone your abilities for sending energy healing, then come to the virtual Reiki share. It's awesome. So definitely reach out if you have questions, and I will talk to you soon. Sending you lots of love. Yes, thank you. Okay.